It works.
Yay! Magical tea time with magical Marci and amazing Anna.
I'm back.
Anna just flew in from France.
And
so
Italy.
Of course.
And Italy. Yes.
And look, I'm wearing my Milan, Italy stuff from when we played.
It's gorgeous, darling.
So adorned.
Bellissima.
all the accents that could come out. So I, for those of you guys that are, you know, even popping on right now, I have been talking about, since I was in France and Italy and Europe, everybody knows I've been like, I disappeared for 2 weeks to France and Italy to do some crazy ass shit like I like to do. And then I came home and I disappeared for 2 ass weeks to integrate the crazy ass shit that I was doing because
it's intense.
I was so affected.
Yes.
I was so affected. And I kept, you know, I always operate in that when I get inspiration, like it's got to come through me, I get to share. And so to be in a place where all of a sudden I disappeared off Facebook to share my messages, people are messaging me like, what happened to my amazing, inspiring messages every day? And I'm like, listen, bitches, I am integrating. And people are like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Right? So I had been promising, I'm like, I promise as soon as I feel up to it, I'll share. And it also happened to work out. I knew when I saw this beautiful woman, she's like my twin flame sister. I just, I was like, I couldn't imagine actually being away from her for, it's going to be a couple months till I'm going to go back to Europe to do even more because it was that amazing and some of the stuff that we'll share with you. And I was like, no, I get to see her sooner than that. I just know. And yes, a couple weeks later, it ends up that Anna's here. So she's in my house today.
Yay.
I'm getting to take care of her, and she's going to be here for a while. So, of course, I wanted to take this opportunity to jump on and just have conversation about what really went down in Europe.
A whole lot of magic. A whole lot of magic. Healing and esoteric physics and just higher dimensional frequencies.
See how I just like, and which this doesn't happen, right? Like me being like tongue-tied. There's so much and so much greatness and so much beauty and so much a whole other understandings of dimensional consciousness that evolved for me that it's still, I'm integrating, even putting words to it. And I actually feel like I'm in a place where now when I try to speak, my verbiage is in such another dimensional understanding that I'm having a challenge bringing it back to where people actually can hear what I'm saying and integrate it. Yeah, and before you say that, I was just going to say, and this is why we want to also speak this message, because the frequency and the vibration of the planet to evolve, for all of us to come together into unity consciousness, which is that returning. It's why things are shifting now at a faster pace, is because all of a sudden it's like years and years ago, people were like, what's consciousness? What is that? What do you mean? Now it's like, it's the cool thing. It's in to be conscious.
To be conscious. Conscious business.
We're so
conscious
in.
biz.
Yes, right? Yeah, exactly. You're seeing it like, you know, one of our dearest friends. Do you know Andrew?
Yes,
yeah, of course you know Andrew. He was here for my birthday. Andrew runs the whole, you know, started that whole evolution of conscious businesses, right? I mean, it's like, it's now the understanding of what we want to be operating in, our conscious languaging, all these things. We're all taking power and control of what we're creating. Now there's this whole other understanding, which is really, you know, what I've been leaning and diving into is like, you know, my super genes and gene keys and DNA activation. I'm actually wearing my DNA activation key. I'll share with you guys this. See this cool thing? This has sacred geometry on it. There was a really close-up of my chin. I just noticed that. Okay. This I got in Dom and Her. It's activated specifically to my frequency, my energy, my birthday, all of that stuff. So not only like, you know, and I'm wearing, obviously she is too, adorned with beautiful esoteric healing technologies.
Yes.
And I've got all sorts of little goodies that I brought back from that.
We'll show you some of those more tools or selfic. It's called selfic healing devices.
Yeah, so, and this is more like it's such a different understanding of what's even available. And here I come back to the States, and where it's like, you know, people are desperately seeking healing in their diseases and all sorts of things, and it's like not even knowing that this stuff is available. And it's like consciousness, really. It's really like we're walking around seeing people, like when you become awake and all of a sudden you realize everyone around you is dead. Everyone around you is a walking zombie, asleep, not awake to the understanding of creating their own world and reality and all of this. And so I literally was like, Anna babes, let's just chat and play. So look, we got We got our tea. We're actually drinking green crack.
Yes, green crack, otherwise known as Brazilian yerba mate.
See, she knows all the secrets. This
Yes.
woman has had so many companies on, you know, natural. I mean, I could let you go on forever. Like, she's known as Ana Naturalista. If you look her up on Facebook, you want to follow this beautiful goddess. Knows all the I mean, she's won. What was the chef show that you won? See, because I don't watch TV. Top Chef.
Yeah.
What?
One of those.
Right? Shh. She won Top Chef. Why don't we let's first just start off and like sharing a little bit about you and why. I mean, Kate, first off, we know that not many people get into my space and my existence, and literally, like, she's in my house, she's like my girl. I'm like, you want to stay? You want to stay? Will you stay? Can I take care of you? Will you stay? Because I love this woman. She's my twin flame soul sister. And literally the understandings and things, even a session that she did with me made a massive impact. I took massive amounts of notes and did a lot in integrating all this new DNA activation, this multidimensional shifting. So this woman is, I call her, I'll just give you my little piece, I call her the Oracle of Oracles. And I'm going to let you share what's safe to share, because she's that kind of person. It's like, I could say some things, but then we'd have to kill you.
We'll just keep it what's palatable at the moment.
Right? Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'll let you share a little bit about you, your background, your story, because even...
I kiss your face.
Oh, did you?
Yes.
The adventures, we call them the adventures of Anna, the adventures of Anna, you know, as we talk, because all these stories come up, like when I was in Europe, and it was constantly like, what?
And then there's one time.
What? And then when you almost died doing what? And then when that happened, what?
Yeah.
It was just, it's the adventures of Anna. She is literally the most... had such an impact and such an adventurous life from her gifts and the amazing, you know, literally she's working with the empresses and the emperors and the princes of the world on guiding them, just as I'm called to influence a lot of the badasses in the world and bringing all this evolution. She brings a whole other dimensional shift of evolution understanding. So I'll let you share on just all your funness.
So on my
I'll
funness,
drink my green crack,
enjoy
which
your
is
green.
another secret from her.
And if her speed of speech starts to like increase a lot, it's because of this.
Oh my gosh. People already are like, I have to like rewind when you talk, and what did she say? And yeah.
Yeah, sounds good.
Well, then you'll just be like, I'll take over, Marci.
Fantastic.
It's okay, Marci. It's okay, Marci. It's okay, Marci.
Pineal activation. Pineal.
Pineal. I know. When I first heard that, people were like, what did you say? Pineal. Bing. Right here. Versus...
Yes.
Pineal, penis, no. We're not really going there today, although we could go there at any time.
Yeah. Right. Crown,
yes.
as in the crown.
Bing, all of it, right? Awesome.
So that's really where a lot of my work takes place, and a lot of my visibility and my gifts come from, is from this higher pineal, higher chakra activation and vision that I'm gifted with. So I can see 5 different body systems: your physical, emotional, mental, energy, and your spiritual body, and then what it takes to bring that all into alignment and into harmony. And that's what causes dis-ease and pain and sorrow and depression and all these different conditions that are part of the human experience. But we have now the gifts and the abilities, with not only all the tools and the accessibility of energy that we learned at Dominator, but within ourselves, of course and foremost, to really align our energies and our body systems into complete harmony, which is also happening right now in the universe and on the planet, is bringing all of these beautiful systems and dynamics that have been in chaos for such a long time, that they have to really, you know, be destroyed in order to create brilliance again. So the chaos is happening right now in order to bring that into unity.
Let's even see how this physically showing up. She shows up, Lucifer comes to town.
What?
Like, we decided to set this up right here. We got, like, because I have all these windows. My house is this big, open, beautiful space of windows, and we literally have, like, some class something hurricane showing up called Lucifer. She's like, Lucifer came to town because you're here to be like, yeah, Lucifer. Right?
Can't touch this.
Right? Right? So it's like around us right now. We're literally looking through this big window where
and
we
trees are like bending over.
This is entertaining.
Hello, Lucifer.
Right?
Yeah. We're making a video, excuse us.
Yeah. So even what Anna's talking about is even like where you get bringing it all into alignment, we also get to learn to integrate that into the actions, the being, the doingness, the living in this place of, again, unity consciousness and versus separation of self. Because separation of self or separation to others is the greatest lie that we can tell ourselves. It's like we are interconnected. All of us are interconnected. The universe is interconnected. And until we and we've forgotten, it's like, oh, I'm separate from God. I'm separate from my higher self. I'm separate from all these things.
Separate from you. Separate
right?
from me. Yes.
That's the crazy thing.
It's a delusion.
Yeah, that's a crazy thing. But I want you to tell a little bit more of, like, obviously you do that, but kind of share a little bit more of your background, like with the chef stuff and everything, just to kind of get a...
Well, the chef stuff came from a direct divine assignment from Yogananda, and I was kind of going through this whole...
Yogananda's like, sweetness, go do this.
By the way, do this. Here, take care of that. And, many of the messages that I receive from the masters come in 3 very powerful words, and he said, feed the people. And I was just like, okay.
Feed the people, bitches.
Okay, so then the very next day, I received an invitation to, and I had in the past and before that had cooking dinner parties and healing food, and talked about naturalistic nutrition. I had that going, a little ebook on that, and classes and whatever. But I wasn't really committed to the food and to feeding the people and teaching it specifically until Yogananda was like, "This is what you're doing." So it kind of went that direction, and immediately after that, I was gifted with the opportunity to go and be part of a peace ceremony, Na'atani, to feed the Hopi and the Navajo and bring the peace to these tribes that had been in conflict for so long. And it was the food that brought it together. And then after that, there was another event, and that led to this Top Chef competition, which then I was invited to kind of be it was Little David and Goliath action, and
because you were the only one that was going to do like organic, clean, healthy eating,
and it was vegan, yes,
vegan, healthy eating, right? And they're like, this will never work. You'll never win. You'll never get far, and we'll make it a little funny.
I was the only one that didn't have a restaurant to my name or an executive chef degree or anything crazy like that. And I ended up winning every category except for the cocktail category, plus Top Chef overall. So that was that. And it kind of just brought a new higher awareness to healing food. So then I became known as a healthy Top Chef and had other events and classes around that. But
which wasn't even your focus.
It wasn't even my focus, because really, and what I would say in my classes is, I have an agenda. It's to get to your heart through your stomach. This is about the soul food, the energy of what's really important. Is why is food important? Well, we're ingesting it for divine purpose, for really supporting the energy body and the system that we need in our physical sense to manifest the greatness in our energy and soul capacity levels. It's like, it's a much bigger picture. But how do I get to talk about that? Through food and dinner parties and education.
In that realm, which even just brought it into, let's just say, even into the media. So this is what's interesting. This is what we're talking about. Lately, I've been really called to, it's like even feeling like some of the personal clients I'm receiving are movie producers and media, that it's like bringing this message into the media, this new conscious understanding that all of a sudden opens it up, like we're saying now. Now it's like, oh, consciousness is like the end thing. Like, how high five, you're conscious too? Woo! Right? Because all of a sudden we brought it into this aspect and this understanding. And so these little ways that it is inspired or comes through, and you feel this draw, like, ooh, this feels good, I'm meant to go here, that she's actually been a part of this coming up into these different spaces, not even really being the focus, and yet that was one of the ways that started to come about, that this message kind of comes up. So even
it's also been my whole life. I was
your entire life
blessed enough to be born into yogi parents and vegetarian and living off the farm and the garden and cultivating and making our own food and everything. So definitely, gifted with that experience and opportunity, so that my entire existence was about that, except for the part where I got to, go explore for about my 20s and early 30s and really figure out what the conventional world is doing out there in the very unconscious way. And I went directly to the top of the most unconscious. So I could see it all and have a direct connection with what the opposite was actually feeling, thinking, and how they were acting and where they were acting from. Which brings us back to, again, the ascension of the consciousness that's happening right now. And everyone's feeling a calling and a shift and a change. And okay, enough already. They're getting triggered. Things are getting people lit up. There's a lot of action that's coming forth and people's wanting to do something and fix something. It's because we're creating a new dynamic, a new paradigm, a new dimension.
Well, you can look at like Standing Rock and all these things that have come up, where then like people go, like, the forces don't get to now say this, like we as a people get to create our own reality and what we want that to look like and be like.
Right.
Yeah.
And in the Hopi prophecy, there is this curve where there's a bunch of people that go into the inner earth and into the dimensional consciousness of their soul self. And then, there are the people that stay on top of the earth and keep on destroying in these old patterns and systems that are causing a lot more chaos instead of unity. Mm-hmm. So everything that's in the way of creating unity is what's happening and coming up right now to be cleared and healed into the light.
To then create.
And or destoried.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Destoried in order to... For the chaos to create brilliance, and that's what we need right now.
Yeah.
So even though it looks like a whole lot of negativity, if you really focus on what the outcome is and your part in being responsible for being the light and guiding that in our new dimensional reality, then you understand why it's all happening. It's like, oh, okay, well. Yes, I can be a part of this and put my energy into that and support these different things, but now, especially after, what was your experience in coming back home after having these activations in Europe and going through, these different shifts in your consciousness?
Well, I'll kind of give you guys why I was calling in, and this is how I always say I manifest like a motherfucker, right? Like everything always shows up. And all of a sudden I was feeling like I have all these programs about to launch worldwide. Huge, like millions is not the issue, all these things are right there, and I just was feeling this like, I'm not feeling this like lit up, like I'm not feeling excited, and I was calling me to like find what else inside me got to shift and change to even open up the next level of my understanding. And I was starting to get drawn to super genes and my gene keys and all this stuff, and it just showed up that all of a sudden it was like, you get to go to Europe. I didn't even know Anna. Literally, I know now, going there, like the moment we met, what did you do? It was like...
I made you a snack with vegan cashew cheese and tomato pesto something or other.
Yeah, we got to France, and I literally got to jump on a call with a client, and she comes in and brings me the snack, and it was just like our souls were like,
hi.
Like, hi, there you are, I remember you. Right? And we just had this beautiful soul connection. Like, I literally was meant to go interact with this woman, and even all the discovery that we got to do through DNA stuff and everything else. Yeah. So I was called, and this is the thing about, this is one of the things that you get to look at is like when something shows up in front of you, and we can always go, oh, well, it's not the right timing or this or that or the resistance. I'm like, my boys and everything else, I'm like, this is what I'm feeling drawn to. This is where I get to go. How would that get to look and how would that work? And going out there. So one of the things that I did even before I got to connect with Anna is I went and got my tonsils cryogenically frozen. That's right, I'll say it again, because everyone's like, what? What did you do? Tonsils cryogenically frozen. You actually have 6. There's 2 main ones. Mine were removed when I was 12, yet they can still regrow and have stumps. And from, the understanding is that your tonsils are the thing that anytime you get sick, that's what traps and carries and holds all the germs. And anything that you've ever had or experienced, there's where there's the germs held. So people with like incurable diseases, etc., get their tonsils cryogenically frozen because it basically
re-stimulates your immune system.
Yeah, and it like like you explained it earlier when we were talking to Sean, and I was like, yeah, that's what I was trying to say. But it basically like not only re-stimulates your immune system, it opens up your lymphatic system. It opens up like all these systems that have been blocked because of this, right? And it's just the way that, again, with all the things that we have in our, what we're breathing in and the chemicals, etc. So I was like, okay, cool. It also activates parts of your brain. And again, I'm activating even more of my DNA, my consciousness, all that. So the moment that he did, there's this one doctor in the world in Germany that does it. There's only one doctor. And the moment that he did in my throat, I literally felt my ears go.
All your senses opened up.
Oh my God. I felt like everything just went whoosh. I could feel everything outside of me. And then when he did the ones in my nose, all of a sudden it was like, again, all of a sudden everything was open. There was no, like, normally you breathe in and it's like, and then it's got to go down into your lungs, and then it's like, no, it was like, and I could just feel everything, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's like I'm Superman. And I've got to acclimate to this amount of energy and feeling this, and so that's why, like, I literally had to lay down and was like, all right. Day later, I fly out to go to Switzerland, then go to Anna's. And from there, my adventure and journey began with Anna, which was about, like, so let's dive in. We were going to go to Dom and her and have all this activation. I didn't know that much about it. I just knew that I was drawn. Just like the first time I went down to Colombia for the things that I do down there, it was like, something's calling me there, and I'm drawn. And I don't even know really what it was about. I just know that that's where I'm being called. So why don't you explain maybe what Domin is, or even some of the stuff that we did before? Because again, I don't know what we can say.
Yeah. So, well, we got to visit some beautiful sacred sites in France.
Yes.
And, one of my favorite sacred sites. It's like this single standing. Like Stonehenge area with this cool, beautiful sacred symbology on it that goes back. I forget what the website said, something like 30,000 years or something. But obviously it was a beautiful sacred site for ceremony. Someone had done a recent winter solstice ceremony there, and we did a little candlelit ceremony, which is beautiful. And
because this woman can open the portals and do protection prayers and do all sorts of things. So we do. I mean, just being with her, it's like everywhere we go, we like utilize the energy in the sacred spaces and can be able to create some amazing, gorgeous things.
Elements and
I'm like, we could go off for hours on all sorts of things, on even just like when I was thinking about like even before we went down to Dom and her, and we were really tapping into the feminine energy. Here's the feminine movement that happened that day. Yes. I'm reading in Gene Keys about the cosmic mother energy and how the cosmic mother, the feminine energy, actually holds the Trinity. It holds the masculine. It like literally has created all things and holds the space for it. Versus what we've been taught, and this is why we did a little post if you saw that or go back to it on like we've been told it's his story, history, his story, when it's really her story. And just even looking at, we did the path of Mary Magdalene trail, right? Yep. And getting to look at all these, we came across all these paintings in Europe everywhere. It's like they were adorning Mary Magdalene and Jesus, and it's like the different levels of consciousness from the space where Jesus came through to when Buddha came through to, all these things were creating this whole, the Trinity. That's why it's the Trinity of consciousness, this whole. And so,
but through the goddess, through the divine feminine mother, so that there's that equal balance of shared energy in the masculine and feminine and the divinity, right? With the holy integrity. And that's the biggest thing also that's coming through, especially now in this year of unity, which if you put the numbers together of 2, 0, 1, and 7 for 2001, it comes to the number 1, right? Which again, it goes back to oneness and unity, and it's not about the oneness within yourself, and being autonomous is also part of the spiritual path, but in unity of the unified consciousness of the unity of that which is for the highest good of all. So,
and that's the feminine energy.
It is a feminine energy. That's what moms do. They take care of the family. They take care of the nest of the tribe,
And that's what we're returning to.
It is. So, and in Europe, what's beautiful and what the angels have been guiding me to do is to create the remembrance retreat, the remembrance program, to really activate this divine remembrance in all of our body systems so that we can live from a place of our divine knowing, with the codes, with the intuition, with the telepathic and psychic abilities, everything that we are given as our birthright of a divine light being soul in a human body having this delightful experience, but we've forgotten all of these divine tools that we have. So this is what we're bringing access to again.
And I want to bring it back to something simple with what she's saying. Because I say all the time, the reason you're attracted to superheroes is because you are a superhero.
You are.
It's inside you. We have these capabilities. Just like I said, all of a sudden I tap into something and I can now I can literally smell and hear everything, and I have all these other abilities like where reading energy and the things I do with my clients where I can hear in their words, they'd always say something and I'm like, oh, I can see this identity pattern and this and this, and this has been, most likely this has been your experience here, and this is, where you're blocked, and they're like, how did you know that? Are you psychic? And I used to always be like, no, I heard it all in your words. I used to say, no, I heard it in your words. Not even accepting the fact that, yes, I have these abilities because I've tapped into this conscious level that I can feel the energy, I can see it, I can hear it, and it's so fucking clear for me. Now it's just catapulting into where literally I'm like, I can hear it. Like I can hear the thoughts, I can feel the things even at a way greater degree. And what I want to bring it back to is, this is where, it could be seemed, this is really crazy, but this is the truth, is that we have so many capabilities we have blocked from not only the way we've been raised, the conformity, all of those things, instead of being able to, is that your Gracie girl? She's just sniffing back there.
She's rolling on the ground back there. I was going to grab just Day's book while you're talking about that, I can explain the subtle energies and subtle organs.
Yeah, but so when we start to open up these things, all of a sudden you have capabilities, and you might have even you have a thought, you think it's just a thought. It might be literally inspiration, direction that you hear, you feel the energy. There's a reason why you feel what you feel that guides you where you go, and even the thoughts and ideas that come to you, but we just downplayed it to make it like, oh, this is just my thought. And then we go, oh, well, I wouldn't want to da-da-da-da-da because, and then our human brain gets in the way, and shaming ourselves or worried about rejection, all these things. This is the bullshit that gets in the way why we're living so fucking small instead of actually getting to live in this greatness space. So when she's talking about, finding these things and activating these things and aligning these things so we can actually raise the frequency of the planet, the vibration to create this unity consciousness, is because it's all within you. It just hasn't been activated. And even as I've been studying the gene keys in the last couple of weeks, as this was, again, all, like, my body's felt like it's been doing this. Like, I even actually last week felt, good for a little bit. And I took Gavin out for a little date, and we were in an energy store, and there was this, the guy who owned it, we were talking about Dom and her and how he'd never been there and wanted to be there. And he was like, just standing here, I can see, because he's like, he's a psychic and does energy healing. He's like, I can see all this sacred geometry and encoding just coming into your body, and your aura is like doing this. And I'm like, yep, standing here, I literally felt like my brain was doing this. And I'm still like, acclimating to the amount of energy I can now hold, the energy that I can move, what I feel and see and hear, and just this. And through these last 2 weeks, it's almost been like, as this integrates, it's like your DNA finds the thing clicks and it goes gridlocked, click. And all of a sudden, the Kundalini energy and the spirals in your DNA like activate, and all of a sudden you have this light bulb. It's almost like all of a sudden you take off glasses, just as you've seen when you become awake more through your conscious journey. It's like you can never look at it the same. You actually can see. It's like you turn on the light, and now you can feel and see and experience things at such a different degree. So as much as like we want to be like, oh, superhumans, or that's like some myth, like you're watching on a movie screen, we all have these abilities, and yet have just blocked them from being able to experience them. So we're talking way beyond just this, like, open up your conscious level to be the powerful creator, to experience the world that you want. When you tap into all this stuff, it becomes even more, as I'm always proclaiming, more and more effortless, because it's just meant to be this easy. So when you actually allow yourself to open up some of these things. So in Dom and Her is definitely, I'll let her kind of explain, one of these sacred secret places of the world that most people don't even know exist. It's actually known as the 8th wonder of the world.
It's exactly. And they have some of the most amazing architecture in the world that they've created inside of a mountain. 800
sacred
people.
Temple inside the mountain. Yeah, that's where we were.
800 people, 24 hours a day for 16 years, just to dig out the temple core that was then created and then filled with some of the most incredible art, including the largest Tiffany stained glass window in the world. So they hold a few different records in the Guinness World Book. Well, and they also, it's the only place where they have actually 4 lines of energy grid, and I think a couple locations under the temple. Yeah, I mean, when we first pulled up and got out, I was already like, oh my gosh, I can feel an intense energy movement here, and then walking through the sacred woods, I was like, my pussy was like, bing, 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 bing. I was like, my Kundalini energy is all lit up from all the energy that's happening here. We were very powerful.
Inside the temple. I was like, why am I dripping wet? Because my pussy was on fire, being in all that energy. Yeah.
It really is, and because the energy is so pure and clear and strong there, people who aren't in alignment with that tend to have not a negative experience, but they feel almost like, oh, I can't go back. It took me 2 weeks to recover from that that energy and that experience. And so you do kind of have to be a little ready for a healing experience and for an activation and an awakening to receive this higher level dimensional frequency of energies, because it is going to activate your chakras, your kundalini, your pineal gland, your crystalline consciousness in your body.
And maybe drop down and explain some of these things, because as I was talking to even one of my personal clients about some of the stuff that I did and what activated, they're like, what is crystalline consciousness? And I mean, again, most people wouldn't know. I've had somebody say, what are you talking about when you talk about your pineal gland? Like, I even had my glasses that I was wearing in the airplane, that are to realign and activate my pineal gland and sound frequency stuff, and they're like, what is that? What are you talking about? So maybe
so let's just focus on that real quick, because that's a really important thing that's in our physical body, that we have the ability to activate and to really focus our cleansing energy on, so that we can be more divinely connected. But the pineal gland is located here just on the top of our head, and it's associated with our crown chakra. And it's it gives off the chemical that gives us that higher dimensional conscious connection with the higher realms and with the higher chakras. Now,
so imagine feeling like, you know, you're blocked, right? You can't really think straight. It's kind of like when you're fuzzy from either food or other shit.
Yeah.
And then when you eat clean or you get conscious, all of a sudden, you see different things. You have the inspiration. You feel that way. This, what she's talking about, like really activating, because most people haven't even learned how to activate it, and why this woman can see everything and talk to anybody, any type of galactic beings, etc., is because her pineal gland is being completely open.
Yeah. Open. And there are a lot of things that throughout our life, including vaccinations and different, poor air quality, food, chemicals.
From the time we're little, let's vaccinate our kids. Let's do the stuff that just knocks your body into cutting off and blocking this ability that's within us to be
fluorescent lights.
Yep.
And especially those who are very sensitive to environmental stimulus. It's because you may have a really sensitive pineal gland and pineal connection. Those hummingbirds that keep on coming close to the window and flying away.
It's because I literally, hummingbirds, they always come to me because it's like flow-in-ease. Hummingbirds are flow-in-ease. Yeah, they're always hanging out in the front. Yeah. In a hurricane out here. They're they're coming in front of the window. We're again in front of our huge window, and there's trees going.
And hummingbirds.
And the hummingbirds like, hi guys,
how's it going?
Hi guys. Love you.
Yeah, we talk pineal. We speak pineal.
That's why I came to join the combo. All right. Anything else you want to share on that?
Yes, because there's so much that we can do, not only on a personal practice level, talking about integration and just doing some, conscious light band energies of going up and through our crown chakras to really activate our pineal connection to our energy and our soul body connection, but also on a physical level, just to detox our bodies and to remove the heavy metals and any other chemical or environmental toxins, doing borax salt treatments. There's a lot that we can do, which have
Eat the teaspoon of borax every day, or borax baths. I have a 55-pound bag in my garage and a huge tub by my bed or bed by my bath. Right? You spend 20 minutes in that, and you get out, and your heart's you're like, woo! Now I can do a cup and a half of that and just lay bing.
Yeah, absolutely. And meditate in the bath and castor oil packs. There's so much we can do physically, also to activate our spiritual consciousness and to really activate these superpower human skills that we all have this divine access to. And this is our innate abilities of, empathy, of Reiki, of energy healing, of feeling. All these different, powers and abilities, and everything from the movies that have come out, from Star Wars to X-Men to Doctor Strange.
I was just gonna say Doctor Strange. My boys are like, that's so cool. I'm like, hey, where I went, that's exactly what's happening. That is reality. It's I can create any type of an energy thing, and the type of...
We open portals.
We'll talk about this, the things that even we're wearing, the Selfic Technology healing tools, and the things that I went through, micro technologies to integrate the intelligence in my entire body, and taking my knee that I struggled with for 20 years doing inner work on and things, and then having, it's taking the intelligence of a knee that works and then transmuting it to the intelligence of my knee. Boom, that easy.
Through energy consciousness and without having the use of any invasive chemicals or procedures or injections.
I literally laid there and had the machines over me, and it's sending the energy and had the experience and the result. And it's this is different dimensional understanding that we've just closed ourselves off to. So yeah.
Which, the alchemy of energy. And this is what the ancients used. It's what's encoded in all these glyphs and a lot of the secret encodings and languages. There's 12 different languages just in one room in one of the temples at Dominant.
I thought it was 22. There's 22 alien languages. There's 22 languages. So we were in this one room. Gosh, this could be forever. We'll see how much we just even get into. We want to talk about some of the healing, because we could go so many directions with the different things. Like I said, that's why I came home for 2 weeks. It was I'm integrating.
There's a lot that happened in a short time.
We got to go meditate. Was it the water room?
Yes, the Hall of Water.
Hall of Waters in the temple. This room is encoded with all these different symbols and encoding. It's basically alphabets and encoding from 22
equations.
Yeah, from 22 different languages, 12 of which have never been seen on this planet.
That's what it was.
Yeah, 12 have not been seen on this planet. And I literally, like I just said, this is where I'm real. My pussy was leaking. because I was like, bing. I was like
lit up
on the energy, and literally felt this just imprinting in my whole body, this encoding of taking in this information.
You can feel it literally like getting infused into your cells, and your cells vibrating and going, yes, there's something I know about that. There's
it's
an
just
encoding I resonate with.
Yeah, and it's just like reading the gene keys, and it's like it's got an energy and aliveness, and you open it up, and you're reading even your hologenetic profile of your DNA activation, and it literally is like this feeling, it's like activating in you, and all of a sudden it just comes through, and it's like, whoa. So yeah, that was intense. We got to like be in this room and actually have this. And so, I mean, you think about even like the this comes up for some reason. It's like you see those pictures of like, oh, alien crop landings. It's just language. It's just language. This is
communicating to us in different ways.
Galactic language and universal language that we've closed off. And so, if this is way too cray-cray for you, you might want to move on. Yet those of you that are like, I'm open to understanding like what else is out there that we haven't seen. Just like even the more I've understood, and it's so much of how, we talk about, I think it was around I did a family dinner here around Thanksgiving, and there was all this stuff going on at Standing Rock, and even the real story of Thanksgiving, and yet my kids are sharing like what they read in the books at school, and like the real story of what Thanksgiving is, like we've been completely fed misinformation of what history has been and what is available to us. We're just walking around completely cloaked in the dark and don't even realize it. And that's, again, that level of opening the consciousness. Now we're at a place where a lot more people are like, okay, I have this consciousness understanding, I can create my own world, but creating your own world by making it hard, or still utilizing this little ability that you have inside you instead of all of the ability, and opening up that ability that you have inside you. Imagine like being able to literally feel and see everything. Like people would pay anything to be like, that they keep coming back, right? Like this is why, she's got the emperors and the princesses and these people in the world being like, help me understand this, tell me this, what are they saying, what's my guidance? You can have that for yourself. Absolutely. When we open up this consciousness and this understanding.
Yeah, so, and that's really what I feel my purpose is to awaken that remembrance in you, and so that you can be your own guide, your own guru, your own leader, and really facilitate that higher level of consciousness in yourself, such that you can facilitate that and really be that guide for others in your family, because people are waking up faster and faster and faster. Yep. It's that intrinsic knowing and feeling that something is shifting right now. Yeah. And it starts with you. It's all about you. It all starts, begins, and ends, and all is in the middle with you. So this is a very, important time for all of us to realize that the world around us is changing because the universe is changing, and because we're changing as well. We're all improving and evolving to this higher knowing and this higher dimensional frequency. The last part of the Hermetic quote that so many people forget is, as the universe, so the soul. Above, below, within, without. Okay, the universe and the soul. Now, the universe is coming into this direct alignment with many of the central suns coming into alignment. The planets coming into alignment. The solar and lunar eclipses coming into alignment. All of the pyramids and different, sacred points on the earth coming into alignment with the galactic frequencies. Our souls are aligning with that same energy. That's why everyone's feeling this pull, this need to know more and to feel like there's a bigger understanding and answer out there, and it's not outside of yourself.
No, it never is outside of yourself.
No.
That's, obviously, if you're following me, you probably know that by now. How many times do I say it's always within? Yeah, so, because, I don't know how much time we're going to really have here, babes. Like, let's talk more about Dom and her. Okay. And, like, really even what you've been feeling called to do, this whole just remembrance, right? And even what's available healing-wise. Not only for, I can only imagine, I thought about, how I'm lived super clean and healthy, and I'm living in this amazing space, and how I've actually, had so much healing experience even there. And then again, activating my DNA that became a whole other thing. But, for people that are struggling with either health stuff or, just even, we're talking about a level of like opening up ourselves to maximize who we are in the human experience and be able to call in greater, and yet even to a level of someone who's really struggling to just actually have their help and different things that are available. So maybe give it more insight on that.
So I mean, what you received was a very high level activation of like a stem cell energy laser.
I did a microtractors. Yeah,
yes.
microtractors that kind of did my whole body and aimed on certain areas where I had like pain in my body, or where again in my own internal experience, whereas like I'd have the right side of the body from rape attempts, kidnappers, stalkers, all my stuff, you know, where my past experience, that there was the deep internal subconscious, there was still resistance around the right side, which is the masculine area, right? And so even getting to heal and do a lot of things on those sides, like I said, with my knee, etc. So having, being able to just lay under that. So I'll just give my own personal experience, and even my knee, like I said, doing so much work around my knee, and then it would still have issues where it would kind of swell up just a little bit, or, have a little bit of pain, and to come back and have my knee completely go, like bend completely all the way, which hasn't happened for a long time.
Yeah.
And just from laying under this machine and receiving the energy, the intelligence download of something that actually works.
Plus, we had you go through, I mean, we went through every single day. I was making sure that you had healing appointments and the Selfic treatments and the Pranos treatment, and then the other.
It's okay. I think my boys and the nanny are friends, so there might be a little Polly barking for a minute, but it'll be
So
okay.
what we're really excited to share is that the woman who wrote the book on Selfic healing,
Gracie,
there you go. It's okay, baby. She's going to be visiting us here pretty soon. So we get to share with her. Her name is Aspiride, and she'll be coming to California and San Diego. Hi, sweet girl. You're so good. And she'll be able to explain a lot more about what all these different healing devices do, the technology behind them, the physics, and how it affects our bodies in different ways. Because the tools that we now have available to us to heal our bodies and our, even from depression and addiction and sleep and insomnia issues, there's so much that they have available for healing tools and devices that...
So even like what we're wearing, so you want to explain even our bracelets that we're wearing and why we have these?
These bracelets are called a multi-use or multifunctional bracelet, and we have a brief description in here, but basically it helps to harmonize all of your body systems, your organs, as well as help with enhancing your intuitive abilities and keeping your pineal connection clear as well. This other little one, this little single band that I have on, and you can't see. Do you have that one too?
Yeah, which one is that one?
Just the single for the EMF? You have the creative one too.
No, I do have the creative one, which I'm not wearing, which is for opening up your brain to energy to be directed for creation, even when that happens. Right? All sorts of fun stuff.
And then the little tripod thing that I think is just what really, really helped my head and my neck heal. This is one of my favorite devices.
The technology in there. So tell what happened to you before, even, and why you can actually even be doing what you're doing right now.
Yeah, seriously.
She went to Standing Rock and had a whole fun little experience. I got whacked pretty hard on our ride home. Luckily, I was the only one hurt in the little accident there, but she went to Standing Rock again on assignment. She was given by the angels to go do a whole thing out there, and what she did, and then coming back had
and we were successful. We set up and created the healing tent. We have all our medical equipment and healing stuff, and the food, lots of food donations, a whole truck full. We just distributed all of that. It was fantastic, total success, awesome, and more blessings. And then I gave them my truck too. I donated my truck so it could be a medic van for Standing Rock. But on the way back, there was a little bit of an energy punch that whacked me pretty good and caused a fracture in my eyebrow bone here, so a little cranial fracture and a concussion on my front side of my temporal lobe here. And then I smacked down on the whole left side of my body that cracked my neck, and had another concussion on the side of my head. So when I arrived and took the plane to France, I had a mini stroke on the plane, and then was having seizures and all kinds of nerve damage. I couldn't go anywhere without a hat covering my eyes. I was trying to walk up and down stairs, just a couple of stairs at a time, and I couldn't do it without holding on to everything, closing my eyes. It was really, really hard.
She told me this story when I met her, the night that I met her. She's telling me about how she just went to Standing Rock, and she told me this story about how the accident happened and she got injured and all this stuff. And I was like, when was that? Like,
Not
thinking it was
possible.
forever ago. Because she's here operating and functioning completely perfectly, doing all good, and I was like, when was that? Because you're talking about Standing Rock, and you went and did all this, but that, when was that? Like, that had to have been, it sounded like it had been years ago, something you'd have to recover from for quite a long time. And she was like, oh, that was like a month ago.
That was October.
Like 6 weeks ago, or it was like really, it was like, a couple months ago, right?
Right.
And it's because of what she did in Dom and her with all this healing technology.
Absolutely.
And even you going back, so maybe share what you went through that created that.
Yeah, so then, and then I've been connected with Dom and her now for over a year, and I just keep on going back. And my first connection was about 11 years ago, and then about a year ago I started visiting and being really intensely connected with the community and with the healing energies and technologies. And so what's known as the selfic, or the self-healing devices, is part of the esoteric physics that they work with, and it works with the earth energies, universe energies, and your life force energy. And it's also like an energetic light body entity that helps to heal you at this, like they call them micro attractors, right? Those are like little itty bitty tiny energetic stem cells.
Yeah.
And
as they explain it, even it's little tiny stem cells that are activated.
Right, and not at a physical liquid or gas level. This is at an energy level, and so it is affecting all of your systems, your physical, your mental, your emotional systems, and it's integrating you at a very, very high level. So it helps to instigate and promote cellular regeneration, nerve conductivity, everything to harmonize all of your body systems all at the same time. So it's the different devices that aren't just these bracelets. I mean, they are like big pieces that they put on your chest.
I don't know if they have I thought I had one of the brochures kind of shown, but because you can't take pictures or video where we were in the temple, or where that's why I couldn't really share that stuff. But there was like one brochure that had
There's
a picture.
There's a picture on my wall that has a picture from the inside where
That just reminded me of even the paintings. Even the paintings
are
literally healing. You can sit and look at the paintings, and they're different layers of this esoteric healing energy, and that you can and turning on is it the fluorescent lights on it? Yeah, the black light. That literally you're
another
receiving. Dimension. I mean, that's how fucking cool this place is. That literally you can stand in the room of the paintings and be receiving this energy healing.
DNA activation, because it's not junk DNA that's in our body. It's not just leftover stuff, gray matter in our brain. These are the signals in our body that have been turned off that we're reactivating. Just like you had that analogy of the receptors coming together. It's like the gear
grid locks,
turns,
click, and it's works.
Boom! These are receptors. We get it. They're turning on now.
Yeah.
So
that's exactly it.
Yeah, and this is the really higher level next healing generation that we're moving into, that is bringing back all of the science of the ancients, and everything from the Ormus gold that I've been sharing with you as well. That comes from Egyptians, from Atlantis, Mary Magdalene's formula. I mean, it's really incredible what we have access to as far as information and healing. And Dumb and Her is one of the most magical. I tell my people, it's like it's like Harry Potterville, but with this magical temple built inside.
Doctor Strange training grounds, literally, and
/
where you receive the healing. Yeah, exactly. So in what Anna's really been being called to do is create the space, obviously. So because of this woman is the Oracle of Oracles, and she does what she does, and she's, was drawn there and then had the connection there, and is, kind of gotten into the community. We had access to so many things that nobody does. Like,
seriously,
I mean, this is actually our little, this little string here is actually, we were initiated into the community, right? And so that we literally have access to only the places that the Dom and Her community that is lives there, and
the spiritual people.
The spiritual people have access to. And this woman had literally got us access to stay in the temple. We literally stayed in the temple, meaning our rooms where they built this whole this one little section, which, I mean, gorgeous, beautiful. I wish I could have taken pictures or video. I just had to take it with my mind because we couldn't. Yet, got us access that we were granted to be able to stay in the temple, and then getting taken down into the temple, which is just, I mean, the place, it's just like there's no words for the
There are no
description and
words.
elaboration of it. And like we said,
You
that
can look up videos on YouTube. There's some stuff that they've put out.
and they
that's
have put out like a
accessible.
book and different things. I brought some home to even show my boys that you know, shows different pictures and different things of inside the temple and what it is. But I mean, it's the coolest thing ever to see like these elaborate paintings and understandings of like the ego mind versus the conscious mind, and like the whole cosmic galactic creations, and just all these things that you're just like. And then again, where we were even in one of the halls, and the 22 different languages on the walls, alien languages, 12 from not even from here, that have never been found here. So it's like the stuff that is there is from a whole nother you know, understanding. And so really what, you know, me having been someone who I seek this continual expansion, I'm always drawn to, it's like what I'm called to do is be, and you know, we've talked about being soul dimensional splitting consciousness, that you can actually be someone on the planet that is able to soul split your consciousness to support and hold space for like up to 20 million people. I think it's 10 to 20 million people on the planet at one time. And I'm like, yep, that's what I'm here to do. And that's what this woman's here to do. And so us bringing this to the light for people to go, how do I also bring that frequency up, is because, you know, there's a lot of fucking people on this planet. So, you know, it's not just going to be the few individuals that soul split their consciousness and assist this ability, yet we all get to step up and go feel that frequency and that vibration, that call to do more. Even if right now you're just in like, oh, how do I create more of my world in my life and open myself up to being in tune with my feelings. There's the hummingbirds. I know,
like,
baby.
Up and down the
right?
window.
I gotta say hi again. Right? But so even in all the stuff that I do, it's like bringing it back to, you know, the integration, bringing back into your daily stuff, the things that you do that allow you to be this person, even if that's where you're at. And if you're someone who's been on this journey and is a leader in this, and even, or a healer that's like bringing people into these different abilities and understandings, whatever you're called to, is like why we want to bring this available to you, to let you know what is actually possible. So share with that even your remembrance.
And so, yeah, and in the remembrance, and in what keeps on coming to me, not only through my experiences and adventures through Europe, but also with my personal clients and students, and in the classes I'm teaching, and the feedback is really, you know, this deep desire to know more and feel it and be able to access it and bring it into
how to activate
the code
it, because it's not, how to activate it,
right?
How to really activate that consciousness,
right. So that's the next level of teaching and guidance and all the information that I've been given. So the first part of that program is my miracle matrix, is how do you live in a higher dimensional matrix and a reality to where all of the spiritual codes, all of the symbols, everything makes sense. It's all part of the language that's guiding your life, like golden bricks just falling from the heavens, and now you step here, now you go here, now you go there, and it's easy with flow,
like my
ease, and
17 master badass angels I have around me, which I have 17 master badass angels that surround me at all times. And like there's like 2 in front of me that are like the angels that like walk like this in front of me, and I'm just walking like this, and they're just like everything negative resistance, like bing bing bing, blocking. So I'm just like right.
See?
And all
you
the
put
other
them
ones
into
around
assignment.
me, totally been doing that ever since I've been, you know, learning to even use that assistance even more, as to those things being taken care of for me. So which is awesome.
And it's amazing too how when you put these energies and these guides and angels into activation, into your mental consciousness, that all of a sudden everything becomes much easier. All of the signs, all of the right timing comes into play too.
Let's talk about that though, because there's a difference between, you know, people would just, I want to pay someone to, like, if you just went to pay an oracle or a psychic or someone to just give you guidance, right?
Yeah.
And you're not doing the work. We call the work, meaning the integration, the behavioral shifts, the changes. When I did a session with Anna, I literally took 10 pages of notes, and I had this whole list of angel assignments, is what I call them. And that's what I was working on the last 2 weeks, and integrating and have up in my space. It's like seeing the deep programs that were coming up. That again, I had to have all this stuff come up, which is why I felt smacked down. Is my body had to experience even like all these old programs of me having so many sicknesses from when I was little, and you know, the sleeping stuff when I stopped sleeping from stalkers and all those things. Yeah. All these things had to come up for me to like let go of and release and let out, and also to just even see those things in how I got to what I got to do to allow those contracts to be done. To complete those soul contracts, to complete those programs that they no longer existed anymore.
And you were given mantras and writing assignments and different things to listen to, and encoded frequencies into your brain at different times and how to respond rather than to react to certain things. So the angel assignments are different for everyone, but very similar in creating that harmony on all levels. So, and the difference is there's so many people to come to me. In fact, there's this woman that I've been working with for a long time that I've recently had to say, like, stop with, because she would, you know, come to me and then go to another psychic and then go to a card reader and then go to a tarot.
And that's where, like, this is not what this is for.
Chasing
yeah,
for
it's
the
not
answers outside of you.
Yeah.
And not listening to the actual assignments.
Intuition and highest frequency within
and not doing the assignments that it takes to actually change that within yourself that's blocking you from seeing that perfect divine magic and synchronicities in your life show up naturally.
And that's why I'm saying, even though we're saying all this is available, like, tapping in and opening up your pineal gland and being able to see and feel more and even have, you know, access to having conversations with angels, getting the guidance. I got some intense messages out there that, you know, of what I even get to do with my family members that might be dying soon, or I don't even know. It's just like, cool, great direction and what I get to do with that. Yet if I'm not taking the action and integrating certain things, then it doesn't change for me. And so it starts, again, like, that's why we're saying at any level that you're at, in your conscious journey, is to start taking that responsibility and looking at how you know, get to move forward in that path. Yet, you know, there's so much available, and this is what we want to really bring to the table is, so we've been kind of like in like census experience and be like, oh my gosh, how can we serve the world with this message and this frequency, and bringing even like the healers and bringing even the people that are ready for this DNA activation to this space and having these experiences. Because again, you can go and we can just say Dom and Her is amazing. You can go to Dom and Her, but even when we were in the Sacred Woods and this girl got to join us for our little experience in there, and it's like they, you know, even have to go through getting very inkling compared to what we have access to and what Anna has access to in being able to be out there.
And we have a spirit A who's, you know, basically
literally wrote
the book
on the self healing technology, and
we really have access to utilize Dom and Her at a much higher level than just anyone else coming there. So plus then all of the sacred points that I know personally around Italy, around the Magdalene Trail, around, you know, all of these sacred sites all over the place that we really get to put together. And you know, one of the Book of the Dead, there's only 2 in the world, and there's one right there in Torino next to Dom and Her. We get to go there. So creating the remembrance retreats. The first will be for the healers, the shamans, the teachers, the practitioners, the coaches, those who can really get a good grip of what we have to offer, so
and
that
get
they
their
know.
own DNA activation, so then they can serve their clients at a higher level, which is also the leaders that are ready to raise that frequency and that vibration of the planet, so that it allows everyone around them to feel that vibration frequency and even to hold that level of consciousness, that space to come up into that unity consciousness. So this is what we've been talking about is, and what she was getting to download on is this remembrance retreat, and us being able to go, you know, have, you know, probably this summer, it'll look like 2 opportunities to be able to do this with us. Is the first level of people coming through with us, and the second level of people coming through with us, and then it might look like we get to just, you know, only allow through access for her certain things. We're still kind of figuring it out. So we definitely want to start to you know, put out the feelers of who is really ready for this and who gets to come join us for this, because it's literally going to be what she's talking about is we're thinking about 2 weeks around Europe, literally the entire Europe experience, staying in castles. We get to go to all these sacred places. We're doing these you know, ceremonies and processes. You know, you talked about the Book of the Dead, the Mary Magdalene Trail, you know, opening crystalline consciousness, all the DNA activation, all the healing possible for even you specifically of what you're looking for with what have been your issues, and allowing and releasing these programs from you, and then getting the conversations to go, ooh, this is what I get to implement now to be able to have a different experience for myself. So we're like, okay, cool. Who is being called in for us to? Because I even was like, I get to bring my personal clients. Like, my personal clients get to go here, because my personal clients are the badasses of the world that are high-level influencers that are meant to influence the masses, and so by opening them up, they influence and open up even more people. So
absolutely,
of course,
we need the leaders to really wake up and get that activation within themselves, so that they can then influence through their intelligence and their own experience how to really integrate the higher level energies, because they're here and they're happening quick, and people don't know what to do or how to react to or how to really utilize these energies in a positive way, rather than feeding into any of the fear factors that may be distracting you out there.
Yeah, and I mean, we're talking about, you know, if you guys follow me, you hear me talk about impeccable integrity, meaning 100% fuck yes fit, meaning you're in impeccable alignment and integrity with who you are, how you communicate, how you're operating, and the people that get into your space are in 100% impeccable integrity. And we start to weed out and understand it's at the micro level of the people that, of the things that might slip in, and these are the things that like distract your energy and you don't, that keep you from this evolution within yourself. And so there's this beautiful mix that, my genius and feel called to is obviously not, it's like she's got a genius I could not even try to pretend to have. And my own genius is more like the seeing and that, boom, this is where we get to integrate, this is what we get to do, that you're living in that space. So like our vision of this is really, and where we're both feeling called, is really allowing these leaders and these people ready for this type of alignment to be able to come and have access to all these experiences through Anna's connections and being in the community there, and then all the different places around Europe. So it's like getting a 2-week beautiful, amazing vacay experience of all of Europe with all of this massive up-leveling DNA activation transformation for yourself as well. So we're looking at only probably 2 opportunities of doing that with us over this summer, and we'll see what happens from there. It might even just get to being able to create a way that people at a level can maybe go through some things that Dom and her, but this might not be something that it's not really accessible to a lot of people. So very special in that way.
Yes,
and
special.
We're also having conversation about how we can maybe create some sort of call-in type situation where starting to teach and understand this stuff, and like what can you do in where you're at. Not everyone's going to be in a place that goes, oh yeah, I can come to Europe and I can go to Dom and her, or even ready for that. And so how can you start to understand some of these tools we're talking about, even to the basic integration stuff that I teach, obviously my foundations program and online stuff, you can teach and start to understand how to like I always talk about aligning all your operating systems. She's talking about aligning all your body systems. Isn't that awesome? Right?
That is awesome.
And how all the operating systems in the body, and then all the different energy systems, and we're gonna bring them together. So it's like, yeah. So having maybe even a phone call opportunity where we can have a teaching time. It might be every week, it might be every other week, most likely every other week, because we are very balanced with our time. And even my masterminds are every other week because I'm traveling all over the world and doing fun stuff. And it's like where we can actually teach this understanding, and I can teach the integration of it, and then be able to open up for Q&A. So if any of this really calls to you, we're kind of just in this feeling space. We do know that we're wanting to bring, I want to bring my personal clients out there. I know that, there's so many of my friends that are amazing, beautiful influencers of the world. I'm like, yep, all those people get to go out there. Like it's a place that will just activate and up-level you to the degree. So if this is more of a something that draws to you, then I just say message one of us to be able to say, hey, as you guys are feeling into what the application process looks like, or what that looks like for you guys to be able to have, the retreat experience, or I'm just even interested in when you guys put together maybe whatever it's called, like our little, call-in, that we get to teach some of this stuff. We're just really feeling drawn to share more of this understanding, because, this is not something that I've even seen people share and let out, and how much it can do. I mean, wow, I don't even know how to express how much I feel up-leveled in even my DNA activation, all these things, and I'm like, and I'm still integrating, and I'm still growing even more of this.
So we'll just keep sharing more as we go along, and kind of as your process integrates, the more you'll be able to explain, the more you'll be able to understand, the more you'll be able to share, and then I'll know how to create a program around that, or we have a next conversation for the next video, for the next class. It'd be great to have anybody that has any questions to post them here, so
questions, feedback,
so we know what to talk about the next time. It's just kind of like a very big overview that we went over a lot more.
We literally just like the fact that I have this woman here from France. I leave for Colombia in a week, and I'm gone for almost a month. I do my Badass Breakthrough Adventure retreat experience down in the jungles.
And go, oh.
And then Sky's coming with me, and then I'll be in Utah, and then I'll be in Costa Rica, and so we're like, let's just hit record, or just turn on the live feed and actually just have a conversation about what I experienced in Europe and what is really available, and seeing what comes through. And again, there's so many different aspects that I know we didn't even touch on. That is why I came back being like, oh. Still integrating. So if you guys have questions about it, questions about even some of the stuff we talked about, because I realized yesterday I was doing a couple hour show, just live talk with my friend, and after, some people were like, what did you mean you got fucked over in Europe? They thought I meant literally like I saw it as like some person fucked me over. I'm like, that's not how I exist. No, everything serves me. I meant meaning I got smacked on my ass fucked over because of what I experienced. Yeah, right? You're like, what are you talking about? They're like, did you mean
I
your
thought
luggage?
we totally hooked you up.
They're like, did you mean when your luggage got stolen? I'm like, are you kidding me? My luggage didn't show up, and because I knew, I literally seen this is again opening up, knowing my psychic abilities. That I was like, when I was packing, it was like, why are you packing? You're not gonna even use this stuff. And I was like, why would I have that thought? And I ended up again being a powerful creator, and this is where this is where we're aligning again. That yes, we can be powerful creators, but what actually is available to us. Where then I was, when I was going to get my bag when I arrived in Germany, it literally was like, your bag's not here. Why are you even going to the baggage claim? Your bag's not here. And I'm like, why would I have that thought? Of course my luggage is here. I'm so excited to receive my luggage. And you can try to shift to the conscious thought, but the reason the alignment was there.
That's the difference of your intuition versus your...
Yeah. And I had been calling in and told her, I'd been literally like, ooh, it's time for me to like, even as I've been in this destroy to create to a whole nother level of where I'm like, I'm being the fucking sun and the moon and the stars. How do I get to be that expansive and hold that much space for the world? And in my message that gets to assist and shift the vibration of the planet and this understanding that I have. And it was like, well, you know what? I'm even calling in, as I've destroyed to create to be that space, I'm even calling in this new level of dress for myself, of adornment, of even like, as we talked to angels, they're like, you're a goddess. You get to be adorned every day. And I'm like,
exactly. Dress the pot.
Right? Darling, you're a goddess. And
you get to have a new wardrobe.
Yeah, and so what happened? The universe aligned it for me in that my luggage didn't show up. So I literally was without luggage. In Italy and France with all the sales, like January, like everything's like 70-80% off.
Seriously,
again, if you didn't catch this before, this is my little Milan, Italy even jacket, right? And so of course then I get to meet Anna, who takes care of me and dresses me, so I have more than the one pair of clothes that I was wearing.
Yeah.
And then I came home with her suitcase full. And I literally, we even at the airport had to like pull stuff out and stuff in his. I was just like, I came home with an entirely whole new, Italy, France wardrobe. Because, so see the difference in aligning the integration of how you live and operate, that things show up effortlessly, manifest like a motherfucker, and where most people have been like, oh, damn it, sucks. I'm like, what do you, no, like, universe always supports me and serves me. So just to clarify, when I said I got fucked over, I meant like, because of all the beautiful experience and integration and activation that I had, it was like I felt like smacked on my ass. It was that destroy, break down, everything, all the old programs, all the littlest, tiniest stuff, my core wounds, fully coming out and being activated so that I could release those programs and I could literally shift into that higher level of consciousness, the crystalline consciousness, all this stuff. So and it's a beautiful, beautiful process. So I'm sure there'll be more that we will just do our best to share. Maybe we'll be able to have another little tea time with Anna, the adventures of Anna, and the amazing tea time.
Yes.
We might have some more tea time before I leave for Colombia. Yet we don't know. It's all up in the air. So if you guys all have questions about anything that we talked about, so that we know we can clarify as we get to maybe share a little bit more.
Yeah, I know what to talk about next time.
Yeah, and if you're someone who's like, fuck yes, if you do, have access to where we can call in and be a part of some sort of learning that, or fuck yes, I want to be a part of any of these 2 retreats that we're going to put together in Europe doing all this stuff, then please raise your hand or message us, not just raise your hand, because we're probably not going to be on Facebook looking at all this stuff, because we got funness to go do and play, but message us so that you raise your hand.
To go have some fun,
right?
Jump in some Lucifer puddle.
Yeah, there's still this hurricane going on right in front of us in my big, huge ass window. So for now, we're gonna go play. So this was fun. I'm glad we got to do some little tea time play, and we will talk to you guys soon. Love you, power choice yours. Choose your best life.
Love
yeah,
you.
I do lock it down, and she's like, bye, baby, bye, honey.
I love you,
bye. I don't even know how to turn it off, but we will. We'll figure it out. Look, oh, snap. Even better. I don't know how to stop it. We're still figuring out how to stop it. Hope you're enjoying this. Oh.